Are you getting ready to list your Welland home? If so, here are some mistakes that sellers make that may turn off potential buyers. Hello, my name is Manny Da Silva. I'm a realtor with RE/MAX Niagara, which is the largest real estate brokerage in the Niagara region. And even though that I serve the Niagara region, this channel is all about Welland real estate. So if you're thinking about moving within the city or perhaps relocating to the city of Welland, please feel free to take a look around the channel. And if you like what you see, maybe you might want to consider subscribing. There is a classic rule in real estate, and that is when you have a buyer touring a property, you don't want to have anything with 2 legs or 4 in it. Meaning you don't want to have the homeowner and you don't want to have their pets present when a buyer is touring a home. This actually happened to me recently when I was showing my buyers a couple of different properties. We arrived at one location a little bit early, so we sat in our cars. We could see the home in line of sight, waiting for the owner to leave. It's a couple minutes prior to the official time to show the property. I walked up to the door. I introduced myself, and I said, we're here for the private showing of the property. And I guess he didn't pick up on that. And he asked me for my business card, and he took it and made a beeline to the back patio where he left the sliding door open, but the screen door shut. My clients were looking at me like, okay. They felt really awkward. They weren't asking me questions like they were asking me when the homeowners weren't there. You need to create that space that allows, a buyer's realtor to help make that connection with the buyer and the property, right? Can't do it when you're sort of lurking around the corners there. So, and then in addition to that, they actually had a cat, and it was pretty affectionate, and it was trying to get some attention and rolling on its back and stuff like that. And now instead of them thinking about the space and like, can they put the couch here, or what sort of color can we use on this wall or whatever, they're now focusing in on that animal. Same goes with that dog that's licking the ankle or trying to jump up on someone because they want to play or whatever. Bottom line is that you want to create space for the buyer to connect with the property so you can get a better chance at selling your home. The next thing that turns, quite a few buyers off, not everybody, but, quite a few, and that is when people smoke in the house. And I got to tell you, there's many clients that I serve where as soon as they smell that, they will just turn around and leave. And the ones that do actually push past that initial reaction, they're already thinking about how much they're going to be spending in order to get rid of that smell in the house. So they're thinking like $30,000 or $40,000 or maybe even more in order to do that, especially when you have carpet and how many rooms that have been affected with cigarettes. So if you are a smoker, please have a designated area outside that you would smoke in and don't smoke within your house, because you will really narrow down the amount of buyers that could be interested in your home. Next one is lock boxes and their location. Nothing zaps the momentum from a buyer more than coming up to a home, getting excited to enter, and the buyer's real estate agent is trying to figure out where the lockbox is. They're opening up their email, trying to look at the instructions. The instructions are not matching where they thought it would be. I even had to go to the back where the back lockbox, or the lockbox located at the rear, had the front door keys. It becomes a bit of a mess. And, once people start looking at each other, like going, what's going on here? As opposed to like, oh, we arrived, open the lockbox, open the door. It's a huge difference in terms of momentum. So you want to make sure that the lockbox is in an area where it's easily accessible for a buying realtor. And when you open the door, do you want to enter into a dim, cold feeling house, or do you want it to be brightly lit and warm and inviting? I'm sure you want it to be warm and inviting. So before you leave, make sure that all the lights are turned on, including the ones that are in the basement. Any curtains that are closed, try to open them up. Try to get as much natural light to come on in. It makes a huge difference when it comes to impact on buyers' first impressions. Now, believe it or not, I have taken people out on tours where we've entered the house and we see dirty dishes and full trash bins and kitty litter with stool in them in plain sight. It is just screaming, not ready whatsoever. Having your home ready doesn't mean that you have to have this hospital level sterile environment where you can perform open heart surgery on your kitchen counter. The idea here is that we want to have a clean, bright, and decluttered space because you're trying to achieve that feeling of calm, a place where people can go out into the world and now they come back to safe harbor, right? They have a place where they can recharge their batteries. They feel like, the weight of the world on their shoulders can just be left at the door. They can kick off their shoes. They can turn on the TV, get the pot of tea ready, whatever it is that people do in order to unwind and relax. That is the goal. And you can't achieve that feeling when you have a bunch of stuff that's just piled up in the corner of the dining room, and that you have to turn sideways through this hallway in order to get to the living room or whatever it is. A place can have a 1960s or 1970s feel to it, but once you have it clean, bright, and decluttered, you can add to that magic of being a place that people can come home to and recharge. Because there's no greater compliment that you can receive than a buyer's agent telling you that this place is the one. And if you are thinking about selling in the next 3 months or so and you haven't had anyone walk you through the steps, please feel free to reach out to me. I have left my details in the description below. You can check out this video over here for more videos about Welland. Thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.